Today we get into the wild and surprising Tortuguero, a picturesque and tiny remote town in the northeast of the country, and with an amazing biodiversity. We saw crocodiles, exotic frogs, toucans, monkeys, sloths, and much more. Join us to explore this incredible place that allows us to close this trip with a flourish. Our last destination on this 20-day trip through beautiful Costa Rica is Tortuguero, a small and remote town that is impossible to reach by road. You have to drive to a pier called La Pavona, which is located just over an hour away north of Guapiles. There you can park the car for about $10 a night, and from there you take a boat to sail the canals towards Tortuguero, a trip that will take a little less than an hour, but depending on the water levels in the canals, it can get longer. The trip through the canals is quite spectacular. The level of foliage is overwhelming, and it is highly likely that you will come across one of these specimens that will remind you not to take your arm out of the boat too much. We took the last boat of the day to get to Tortuguero, since during the day we had done the Chindama waterfall expedition in Guapiles, and we almost didn't even make it to the last boat. So we hired a night tour for that same night, since that it will be the only one we will be in this beautiful place. So after leaving our bags in the hostel, we walked the streets, or rather the only one street of Tortuguero. We spent a little time at one of the beaches around here, where they offer some sea turtle nesting tours, but when we went to Tortuguero, which was February, it was not the right season for this tour. As there was still a little while before the night tour began, we ended up entering this beautiful place in front of the river, where we had a good snack to liven up the nightfall a little. We began the night tour through the Tortuguero forest, and its abundant fauna surprised us, and we were able to see several red-eyed frogs, one of the most beautiful that live in Costa Rica. We also saw a spider that the guide explained to us that has a toxin that paralyzes its prey so that it can devour them. And a few meters later, we found almost a crime scene. A poor little red-eyed frog trapped in the web of one of these spiders. We vote in the group whether we will let the food chain do its thing, or if, on the contrary, we will cheat a little in favor of the little frog. And luckily for the little amphibian, we voted for him to have at least one more night of life. But the show had to go on. We saw a snake the same vibrant green as the frog, a sleepy sloth, a toucan taking shelter from the rain under that natural dome. Next we saw a bat hugging what seems to be a fruit, and a friendly toad who said good night to us. The next morning, the tour of the Tortuguero canals began very early, but with the amount of animals, especially birds, that we saw that day, the very early waking up was super justified.
igual con...
Algunas. Necesito más stop.
El pez la puede matar. ¿Sí? Sí. Porque ella,
¿La cresta enseguida o tiene medio? Impressive. And yet we still had at least two species left to see, the dolphins and the manatees. We hope to see them next time. Now it was time to give way to our last excursion in Tortuguero, its national park, so full of life like the rest of this remote and wild place.
Sí, entonces este juego
The amount of monkeys we saw in this place was crazy, and these animals are pure spectacle, whether because of the acrobatics they do or simply watching them interact with their environment. It is hypnotic. I could spend the day just watching them doing whatever. We also saw a sloth, although this time very far away, but we were more prepared than on last night's tour. Our guide brought a great telescope through which we were able to see it so close that it almost seemed that we could pet it. Today we are not left wanting to see another frog, this time the red arrow frog or blue jeans, because it looks like she's wearing jeans. So beautiful. And more sloths. With Zapadab we were very lucky that day, although things will get even more interesting. Another toucan. Not at all, it is an easy bird to see, and we were very lucky to see one last night and another one now. Amazing. The truth is that of all the places we have gone to in these 20 days of traveling through Costa Rica, Tortuguero has been where we have been able to enjoy the most fauna. Way to the exit of the park, a group of white-faced monkeys accompanied us, delighting us with their movements and acrobatics. What a good day all the inhabitants of Tortuguero gave us, just to close our trip through Costa Rica in the best way. Thank you very much for joining us on this adventure. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it, and see you into the nature.